All right, let's be honest. Do your pull-offs sound something like this? When in reality, you actually want them to sound like this? If that's you, don't worry. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to fix sloppy pull-offs and turn them into one of your cleanest guitar techniques. I'm going to walk you through 3 simple steps that oftentimes get overlooked by guitarists. And by the end of the video, you're going to know exactly how to play a perfect pull-off and have a short practice routine so that you can start improving your pull-offs today. So when it comes to pull-offs, generally, if a student is sort of a beginner at this, you can tell right away because they tend to play the first note really strong, and then the pulled off note sometimes is non-existent or it sounds really weak, right? You get this strong, weak, right? And ideally, you don't want to have that. You want to have the stroke note sound the same as the pull-off, like this. Okay? So the first sort of, not really step, but the first thing you want to do is just become aware of that you want the evenness of sound to be the same and not strong to weak. So rule number 1 when it comes to pull-offs is that you need to land both fingers down at the same time. So if I'm playing a pull-off from my 3rd finger to my 1st finger, my 1st finger needs to go down the same time as my 3rd finger goes down, which is the first note that I'm playing. The reason is so that this finger is prepped ahead of time. So I put them both down and then I slur off to it. And this guy's just waiting and poised to go. Sometimes you see beginner players play this and their finger's not down and then they try to pull off to it, right? If you're doing this, it's too late. You're way too late, right? These need to go down together at the same time. Almost you can think of it like a chord shape, right? Where you land the shape with all the fingers down at the same time. Rule number 2 is that you need to do a rest stroke with your left hand, meaning that your left hand finger pulls down onto the next string or the adjacent string. If you do this, you will get that clear, crisp, snappy sound that everybody wants to get. The reason that people don't get that sound is because they oftentimes kind of do what the word pull off implies, which is pull your finger off the string, right? This is what gives you that strong, weak sound, right? Because you're just pulling your finger up. You want to pull it off, essentially pull your finger off and down into the next string, right? Into the adjacent string. Okay? If you do this, your pull off and the quality of the sound is already going to improve by probably like 50% or more. So here's what that looks like. I'm going to take my 3rd finger, and when I do the pull off, I'm resting into the adjacent string, right? So I was here and I'm sliding off basically onto the 1st string. What I'm not doing is pulling up like this, right? This is what gives you that terrible uneven sound, right? Instead, I'm pulling down into the adjacent string. This is key. Step number 3 is to play on the fingertips. Now this is particularly important, especially when it comes to doing pull-offs with the 4th finger, okay? A lot of times I see students land their finger flat like this and then try to do the pull-off. And it's hard to do the rest stroke with your left hand if your finger is flat, right? So you really want to make sure that you land your finger on the fingertip. And basically, I know whether my slur is going to sound clean or sloppy before I even play it based on how my finger is placed on the string prior to playing that. So if I'm on my fingertip now, it makes it really easy for my pinky to do that left hand rest stroke. And that's what gives me that clarity, that snap, and evenness in sound. And one more bonus tip, and this I notice a lot with students, is that sometimes when they practice the slurs, or even in context, they tend to alter the rhythm. And what I mean by that is sometimes they'll play the first note really short, right? And then they go to the next one, almost like a grace note. However, that's not usually the case. And especially if you're just practicing them, try to make both notes equal in rhythm as well as sound, right? So you want this rather than practicing like this, right? Slurs are not always grace notes. Sometimes they can be, but not always, right? But in general, practice them even in rhythm. One other common mistake that you want to avoid is pulling strings. This happens when you're trying to do your pull-off and you end up pulling the entire string with you. What happens with this is that it pulls the note out of tune, so it's going to make you sound sharp instead of normal. So this versus, you kind of have to try to oppose the motion with your 1st finger that your 3rd finger is making, right? So you got to keep this stable while this one pulls off. Now let's get into the practice routine so you can start improving these today. What we're going to do is we're going to start in 5th position, and I want you to always practice your slurs on any string except the 1st string. The reason being is that if you practice on the 1st string, basically you can be a little more wild with it because there's no string to pull off to, right? Which makes it easiest to play on the 1st string. But I want you to practice it on any string except the 1st string. In this example, we'll use the 2nd string. That way you practice doing the left hand rest stroke. So we're going to start in 5th position. I'm going to place my fingers on the 2nd string, and we're just going to go through all the 2-finger combinations, okay? And I want you to do each one of these 8 times each. For the sake of time, I'm only going to do them 4 times, but you should repeat this. So it's going to go 2 to 1. Then the next finger combination is going to be 3 to 2. Then we're going to go up to 4 to 3. Now we're going to go 3 to 1. 4 to 2. And 4 to 1. Now remember, you do not have to practice these as fast as I just played them. Practice them slowly so you can focus on the left hand rest stroke, placing your fingers properly on the fingertips, listening for the evenness of sound and the evenness of rhythm. Go slow and take your time. Here's another slightly more advanced pull-off exercise. This one's great because it works on sort of landing both of your fingers down at the same time like we talked about at the beginning. I'll play it once first and then I'll break it down for you. It goes like this. And you can continue this pattern all the way up the neck. So here's the breakdown. We're gonna go 3-1, 3-1 like this. And I'm gonna use my thumb to stroke the 6th string just to get the exercise started. After that, you don't have to use your right hand ever again. All the sound is gonna come from your left hand. So you have 3-1, 3-1, and then 4-2, 4-1, but it's up a fret, okay? And we'll do that one more time. So 4-2, make sure when you land these 2 fingers that your 4th finger and your 2nd finger go down at the same time. 4-2, and then 4-1, and your 1st finger moves up a fret. Once it's moved up a fret, then that pattern just repeats itself. Then I go 3-1, 3-1, 4-2, 4-1, and we're off to the races. And you can take this all the way up to the 12th fret. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. Leave a like and subscribe if you've got any value out of this, and we'll see you in the next one.